I'm about to pay for this in Bitcoin at a McDonald's. Bitcoin. I don't know what she said. I've just arrived to the first country on Earth accepting Bitcoin. This hairdresser also accepts Bitcoin. This is a photography studio and he is the owner and he's very proudly accepting Bitcoin. But it's not just being used to pay.
I tried to put half of my salary into it.
I've come to El Salvador just months after it became not only legal, but encouraged too.
This is absolutely the most important place in the world right now.
30% of my clients are Bitcoiners now.
Its 41-year-old president has become a celebrity amongst Bitcoin enthusiasts, even claiming he buys Bitcoin naked from his phone.
He's flirting with China, and he's flirting with the US, and he's flirting with the Bitcoiners.
It's great that the president loves to make memes and stuff, but memes is not education.
But some of this excitement just isn't fully adding up.
There was a huge scandal here in El Salvador. They know everything. They know where you are.
Government, have you engaged with the government or mostly? People's savings have been cut in half in a matter of weeks. A woman just came out of the Bitcoin ATM. I asked her what she was doing. She said she heard that Bitcoin was going down, that the price of Bitcoin is going down. So she was trying to sell some Bitcoin into dollars.
Our government is buying Bitcoin, which is great.
Yeah.
But there's people dying in the hospitals because they don't have all the equipment.
I'm here to find out if Bitcoin can really be used for our day-to-day payments.
Because it's the first country to adopt Bitcoin, it's going to set a lot of precedents.
And to see if what's happening here is going to be the beginning of the end of government-backed currencies.
And the US dollar is going to go down. If you understand how money works.
Or is this just a massive publicity stunt by its eccentric president?
Is this the country of legal tender? Act like it.
Seeing it is kind of like the Dubai 25 years ago.
Is he a Bitcoin billionaire? Can we ask you a question about the IMF?
Bitcoin, they created a dozen years ago as an alternative to cash.
I could care less about Bitcoin. I don't know why.
Is exploding in value.
Craziest, best investment in my life.
El Salvador could become the first country in the world to make Bitcoin legal tender.
Bitcoin faces its biggest test yet.
The digital wallet system had to be taken offline for several hours.
More than 1,000 people marched in the capital of San Salvador to protest the adoption of
And 2 other countries will approve Bitcoin as a legal tender.
I think that it has the potential to create the global next war.
So I scan the QR code and then I'm going to round up to 18 and then I hit pay. So can you check? She doesn't want to check?
No, she should not.
I've come to the only place in the world where most businesses are accepting Bitcoin. It's come to be known as Bitcoin Beach.
Oh, this is just the Bitcoin watch. I paid about $21,000 for this because there's 21 million Bitcoins to signify that. The Bitcoin in there is what 100 times more, right? There's Bitcoin in what millions, so that gives the watch value, is the Bitcoin inside it.
It's here where I meet Evan Luthra, a crypto influencer with millions of followers.
And since the last few years, my mission has been to basically promote and grow Bitcoin and the movement around cryptocurrencies.
He's made millions off crypto, but he's not really into dollars anyway.
There is not a fiat currency that's ever survived.
A fiat currency is basically money that's been issued by a government. At this beach town, I find some of the nicest hotels El Salvador has ever seen, an organization called Hope House dedicated to educating people on Bitcoin, and I even meet this security guard. So you received a $250 tip in Bitcoin. Wow. It's a shocking tip, especially in a country where minimum monthly income is around $350 per month. But while I'm here, there's one more person I'm hoping to meet.
Max Kaiser, guys, he just wanted to have this phase of being an ambassador. Some people, they don't really like him because it's probably too much.
Here's a $10 bill. This is garbage. This is garbage, right? That's going to zero.
Libertarian, he's an American guy, big in the space, and yeah, now he's been living here for the last month or so.
Despite all the hype and excitement around Bitcoin here, the IMF is urging El Salvador to stop this Bitcoin experiment. And Max seems like he could care less.
Can we ask you a question about the IMF?
Yeah. Good, man. What's up?
Good.
It's game over for the IMF. So.
By the way, I'm making a lot more videos like this one about tech, money, and different cultures. So if you're enjoying this video, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.
It's game over for the IMF. Pour one out for the IMF. Like, I don't think anyone's going to mess them. That scares the IMF. The IMF is in the business of extending loans, and when they don't get repaid, they extract wealth. the business model of the IMF is of the dodo or blockbuster entertainment.
But aside from the big voices in crypto, how is Bitcoin impacting life for citizens here?
I have seen an increase of clients thanks to Bitcoin.
Salva is a surf instructor who's seen a lot of curiosity of Bitcoin, and now 1 in 3 of his clients are paying in Bitcoin.
I pay all my bills, whatever I have to pay, like I pay, and my savings are there, like money that I don't really need. I put it there and I forget about it. I hold it, yeah.
On one hand, El Salvador doesn't make sense to adopt Bitcoin. For over 20 years, they ditched their own currency for the US dollar, a relatively stable and safe currency. But on the other hand, maybe it makes perfect sense. 80% of its population doesn't even have a bank account, and this could be an easy way to get your population transacting digitally. But I'm most curious, how does this actually work? I've come to an ATM machine. You've got your traditional vending machines behind me, but this one is to buy and sell Bitcoin and Litecoin. So I'm gonna be buying Bitcoin at 40,000 right now. That's the price. If it sells to me, it will sell at 35,000, and the actual price on the exchange in this moment is about 37,000. What I'm trying to do here is take this $100, buy some Bitcoin. Confirmation. There's my 0.0024 Bitcoin. There it is. How cool. But sorry, everything is priced in dollars throughout El Salvador, but over here you've got your Bitcoin logo. 75% off if I use Bitcoin because of the wallet called Strike. All right, I'm ready to pay. No, it hasn't gone through yet. It's been about a minute since I attempted to pay on Bitcoin and we're both still waiting. Yeah, unfortunately it's been about over 5 minutes and it's not working. About 30 minutes later, I still don't have money that transferred to my wallet so that I could pay in Bitcoin. So my friend Lorenzo here has agreed to pay for my iced coffee. Done. Wow, that was like milliseconds. One day later, I feel a lot more confident paying with Bitcoin. It's actually become very easy once that initial setup has been established. I just hit pay. I confirm that I want to pay 69 cents. And then it says, done. She got the payment, I made the payment, and I just paid on Bitcoin. It does feel pretty cool when it actually works. It's actually super easy. It's just like instant. I open the camera, I scan the QR code, and I pay. It's everywhere, Bitcoin McDonald's. So no sign of Bitcoin anywhere, but let's see if they'll accept it. Let me get my wallet ready. How do I have so much Bitcoin? Did it go up? Wow, that's crazy. So just yesterday I had $90 of Bitcoin. I spent about $20, but then I look and I saw I had $103. And it's interesting, this money keeps going up. Every day I'm in El Salvador, this money in my wallet, I'm not doing anything, but it's going up, the money in my wallet. I guess that's a cool side of using Bitcoin. Doesn't always happen, but that really took me by surprise. Do a standard meal. Okay, ready? Chai latte. Uno cake pop. Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo está? To pay for the Big Mac, I got the option between cash, credit card, or Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Confused. She's confused. Bitcoin. I don't know what she said. So here at Starbucks, I said Bitcoin, and she nodded, but there's a little bit of a process. She just grabbed a mobile device. I said Bitcoin, and she had to go get a manager. The answer is not no, but she had to go ask a manager, and now she's coming back with a... So that's $5.70 for a Big Mac meal, which is the equivalent to 0.0001539 Bitcoin. Now she's coming back with a portal, presumably so I could pay. I just paid for a Big Mac with Bitcoin. No chico. Let's try. My friends did it here. Just like that. First McDonald's to accept Bitcoin for your food. So they wouldn't accept Bitcoin. They said you have to have Chivo. You have to have Chivo. Even though other people have paid with Bitcoin at Walmart using other wallets. She said there's maintenance work being done, so I can wait 20 minutes to pay by Bitcoin. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, so I'll pay with credit card. Gracias. McDonald's payment, $5.65 worth of Bitcoin. So even though you pay in Bitcoin, it still comes as USD. It still shows as USD. She said that a customer tried to pay with another wallet and they never got the money. That's why she was so hesitant to even let me try to pay for the items with my wallet. So not only did they not want to even let me try, but they seem like they don't trust it. Seems like they're afraid of it. Out of Walmart, Starbucks, and McDonald's, the only one that has seamlessly implemented Bitcoin would be McDonald's. It was a really weird feeling to look in my wallet and see more money than I expected. And so when I came to buy this, it almost felt like it was free. And now I'm starting to understand how paying with Bitcoin can feel really good, but also be really, really scary too.
Of course, I think it's gonna help the economy.
It's planned as the Singapore of Bitcoin here in El Salvador.
That's Ricky. He's an Italian podcaster who came here to spend 2 months using just Bitcoin. That means no dollars. In 2001, this country switched to the US dollar as its official currency. The government did this promising a better economy, but in the process, it lost its ability to have its own monetary policy, becoming reliant on the US.
Up until 3 years ago, this was a very dangerous country. They had problems with the gangs.
But then a new president came. Nayib Bukele. He was just 39 when he took office, promising to overhaul the system, and Bitcoin became the way to do it.
This guy made this country known for the first time.
He's like trying to change the country.
He speaks constantly in English about it. He's talking to us, to entrepreneurs, to investment funds. He is making economic and political propaganda to attract money from the rest of the world to El Salvador.
And it's working. It's brought enthusiasts like Lorenzo, author of Hey Mom, I Bought Bitcoin.
I just thought I want to see with my eyes, I want to pay with Bitcoin, just see how a country can really make Bitcoin legal tender.
This is a cash-based society. Nobody here has a credit card, nobody here has a bank account. Everyone here has a cell phone though. Everyone here has internet, so now they can have a bank account in their pocket, in their smartphone.
But most Salvadorians who get paid in Bitcoin immediately convert it to US dollars.
They live day to day, so they don't have $50 at the end of the month to save in Bitcoin.
They don't have a currency, and if they do, it's dollar, where they have no control over. Bitcoin is perfect for its limited supply. People here, they probably don't know what is saving. Bitcoin, what can provide here is also financial education.
And Bukele is leading by example. The country has spent around $85 million on Bitcoin since it became legal here. According to the New York Times, El Salvador has paid an average of $47,500 per Bitcoin. Today, 2% of its reserves are in Bitcoin, but traditional institutions from Moody's to the IMF are slamming El Salvador. And yet, this is giving hope to many of its young people.
I had to go through Spain. The immigration officer was like, oh, Bitcoin, El Salvador. Because in the past, they would be like, oh, gangs.
We are free because with Bitcoin, you don't need to be in a bank. You can start like saving money.
It's really hard to go more than 5 minutes here in San Salvador, the capital of the country, without seeing some reference to Bitcoin or crypto, or in this case, Trezor, which is a hardware wallet where you can use to store crypto. Right now I'm headed to a crypto meetup. It's basically an event for people to come together, talk everything crypto.
So I think we're at a crossroads here. And what happens in El Salvador will have a lot to say which path we take.
That's John. He's an American who moved here to start an organization that educates people on how to use Bitcoin. Everyone who comes to this event gets $5 in Bitcoin to go and buy a couple of beers. Of course, it's easier to just give a couple free beers, but this is a little bit more fun for people who are obsessed with Bitcoin. Mi Primer Bitcoin, which means my first Bitcoin, is now a team of people who are educating locals.
It's turned into a very political idea. So when you want to teach a person, it's like, oh, this Bukele coin, or the government coin. Responsibility when you teach them, because everything you're telling them, they're believing you, because they know nothing.
While some people are paying and accepting Bitcoin in El Salvador, the majority of people I meet are not.
The old people in El Salvador, no.
One shop owner even has a sign proudly saying he doesn't accept Bitcoin.
Up, down, and now ahorita es solo down.
They need to educate the masses more. I think the number one key comes down to is education.
We don't know, confusing, no information, no education. A lot of people need to aprender, need to learn.
Yeah. Lack of education is causing the lack of understanding of how it works.
But organizations like this at Bitcoin Beach are trying to change that. Here they teach English classes and classes about personal finance. They even give kids some Bitcoin, tell them to go buy something with it, and then discuss it back in the classroom.
Create a better economy. We want to teach the kids about finance, and about like save money.
Now, people from other countries want a piece of this new crypto market. That's what I find at the base of El Salvador's World Trade Center. This place is actually funded by a crypto startup called OgoCoin, and it was actually started by a man in Singapore. It's a Singaporean company, hence this huge mural of Singapore. On the wall, they have a timeline of how we pay for things, starting from bartering for things, going toward gold, going toward cash, going toward credit cards, banks, and it ends in September 2021, where El Salvador adopts Bitcoin as legal tender. It's super interesting to see them associate Bitcoin with things such as, bartering, credit card, gold, because it really instills that impression in your brain that this is the future. And then there are companies like Stripe, where you can pay with Bitcoin. It's an American company so eager to get customers here that it tells some merchants to give 75% off if they pay with Bitcoin. And Strike will pick up the difference. But for many young people here, they don't really need an incentive.
I go to the gym, so a friend of mine talks about Bitcoin all the time, so it seems like a cool stuff.
Let's say I make $500 a month. In 2020, I would have saved $900 on my pension, right? What if instead of paying $75 to a private company who handles my pension, I would have bought $75 in Bitcoin every month in 2020. Do you know how much money I would have right now instead of $900? $8,000. And when I tell locals about this example, they're like, okay, Salva, where's my phone?
Do you use Chivo?
So at the beginning, I started using Chivo.
Do people like Chivo?
Yeah, some people.
This cell phone store sells everything, and they proudly accept Bitcoin and Chivo. Chivo is El Salvador's official Bitcoin wallet. And unlike every digital wallet, it can only be used by Salvadorians.
Millions of Salvadorians here, they have the Chivo wallet, that it's a Bitcoin and dollar digital wallet, so they can trade on Bitcoin, they can receive Bitcoin, and of course they can pay in Bitcoin.
But Chivo has already become synonymous with political controversy.
They don't trust the government, and they see Bitcoin as something that comes from the government.
It's something of a partisan issue here. The president has high approval ratings, but many people that don't like the president feel pretty strongly about that.
This is it. This is the Chivo ATM. This is where people can trade their Bitcoin into dollar or their dollar into Bitcoin. And this is only for El Salvadorians. The first thing it asks is, what is my mobile number? So this is far from anonymous the way a lot of people, use Bitcoin for. You have a number of staff members who are promoting Chivo, helping answer people's questions, and ultimately trying to promote the app. I've actually never seen so much security for anything in El Salvador. I have to wonder if the security is here because of potential uproar. As an incentive to use Chivo, the government offered every one of its citizens $30 worth of Bitcoin.
If you get the app, you get in exchange $30 in Bitcoin. That is huge for this country.
Millions of people downloaded it within weeks.
A lot of people use the $30 for buy beers, for gasoline, and I don't know.
There was a huge scandal here in El Salvador.
I check every day, $30 and then 26. In one moment, it's 37. In one moment, disappear. Yeah, everybody disappeared.
Someone reported that their funds they got missing in the Chivo app.
Hundreds reported the same problem. It was never clear if the money went missing from hackers or a bug on Chivo's app, which has received so many complaints that the government has hired a New York firm to fix the bug. page of today's paper says Chivo is expanding and going to be reducing fees for remittance. So people in the US, let's say, sending money to their relatives here in El Salvador, the fees are now going to be lower. Front page of the newspaper, good PR push for Chivo.
This is not how you help your population, freeing yourself by the slavery known as traditional financial system. We must presume Chivo is a spyware and is a custodial wallet. You don't own your private keys. And if you don't own your private keys, you don't own your Bitcoin.
People love Bitcoin because it's a democratic form of money that's not backed by any government or central bank. Look at how the lives of people in Venezuela or Lebanon have changed, and you can see the appeal of a decentralized currency. But if everyone here in El Salvador is using a government-launched app, is this really how Bitcoin was intended to be used?
2.5 million Salvadorian are living abroad, most of them in the US. A huge majority of them are working abroad illegally. So when you do that, your home country all contacts with you. They don't know where you live in the US, they don't know what you do, they don't know how much you get, they don't know how much money you send back home. Now, with the Chivo wallet, they know everything. They know where you are. They know what you buy. They know how much money you get. They know how much money you send back home, because you're not using anymore Western Union to do that. You use the Chivo wallet.
Almost 90% of global transactions are done in US dollar.
If you talk about Salvadorian in the streets, they are more than fine with dollars. They have been using it for 20 years.
For me, it's amazing use American dollar that have power around the world. But Bitcoin is new.
But many young people here are telling me the exact opposite. And much of their love for Bitcoin comes from a fear of the US dollar.
The value of the dollar is decreasing every day. Maybe you don't see it like in Venezuela or Argentina, but it's the same thing.
The dollar, the inflation gets too high year over year. I saw a tweet. The dollar over the years since 1960, $100 in that time, now is like cents or $1.
And the US dollar is going to go down. If you understand how money works, you would understand that the US dollar has a very, very small time. The sad part is 99.9% of the world does not understand how money works. So that's why they're still bullish on the US dollar.
If you want to stay in dollars and you have a guarantee of loss of purchasing power, or you're in Bitcoin and you have a guaranteed increase in purchasing power with some volatility.
Sure, inflation has hit a 40-year high in the US, but inflation has happened globally. And despite that, the US dollar is still considered king to most.
The Bitcoin narrative is against fiat money. They are expression of the oligarchy. Fed can print trillions of dollars out of thin air. This money is pegged by nothing. It's just toilet paper and blah, 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 blah.
Printing money has real consequences.
For them, the dollar is evil because it is a tool to enslave economically people. Communist regime in Venezuela and in Cuba, they allowed people to see Russia Today. Max Kaiser is on Russian Today. Why? Because Max Kaiser keeps bashing the dollar in his podcast. So they think that's anti-American propaganda.
Because Russia is not an indebted economy, but these other countries, because they're so incredibly indebted, they put themselves in this position.
The reason why Max is so popular in Cuba and in Venezuela, other two countries that are using Bitcoin a lot to free themselves from the US.
President Putin have done a brilliant job, so bring it on.
Ask any Bitcoin enthusiast, they'll say Bitcoin is a technology that transcends politics. But in El Salvador right now, Bitcoin has become politics. There are economists that say it could dip as low as 10,000 this year. What do you say to that?
Ooh, 10,000, yeah.
While I'm here, Bitcoin was down 50% off its highs, with some saying it could plunge further.
When you see it like that, it's scary, of course. Like me, a Salvadorian regular guy that doesn't have millions, of course, it would affect my economy. But then this decentralized economy, and this is what it stands for.
Coiners get paid to realize this before. We get paid to be early. That's why I have the success I have.
I don't see Bitcoin going down. Has it gone down? I'm unaware of it. That's news to me. Every chart I look at just says 11 years of growth. Anyone who tries to trade in and out of Bitcoin, there's a city in Nevada for them. It's called Las Vegas.
Bitcoin has put this country on the map like it has never been seen before. There are now plans to even build a Bitcoin city.
I'm really proud of being Salvadoran right now.
I'm working on getting my citizenship.
I believe that this country will make it happen.
I'm really excited about the possibility for a nation state like El Salvador to be able to exist in an interconnected financial world that is not dominated by the old powers.
So will Bitcoin really replace fiat currencies?
Those that understand it, we are obligated to share our knowledge.
In the past, we used gold, but then the dollar came because it's just a lot easier to exchange with someone. But unlike gold, which is tied to scarcity, the dollar was tied to the government.
I do not see Bitcoin as a way to make more dollars. I see Bitcoin as a way to escape dollars.
Why would you ever choose to hold the money that someone can arbitrarily diminish?
A decade ago in China, hundreds of millions of people skipped using computers and went straight for cell phones. This is a concept known as leapfrogging, and it's why China's smartphone market is now so advanced. Today, more than 1.7 billion adults on our planet don't have bank accounts, but many are getting cell phones and the internet. And if Bitcoin gains traction here in this country, could millions more be next?
Bitcoin is gonna eventually make states obsolete because it responds to a basic need of human beings all around the world.
For the first time in history, we're saying stop to dollars.
If enough people are using Bitcoin in, say, Argentina, then that becomes a currency.
We have a spike in adoption all over Cuba, Venezuela.
It's a sort of way that people could vote.
Bitcoin is there to protect human rights, not to make a spoiled brat from Wall Street richer